beings, both those who were here on positive helpful missions as well as those who were here programmed for not such nice things at all. We have worked with androids, artificial intelligences, androgynous types of beings, squirrel-like aliens, many turtle people of various forms, lizard and salamander people and countless others that we shall try to describe below. It is the true nature of this planet that it is, as Peter has always says, just like a Star Wars bar. 72% of this planet is in fact not human. It is that way and has always been kind of that way, beings here from so many varied places to either help or hinder the planetary ascension and or the New World Order's plans for total planetary control. This then means that only about 28% of humans are just that, truly human. Since so many aliens from so many higher dimensional levels need to come here for whatever purpose, they must either choose to be born through the womb, or they must simply walk into another human form. What happens, however, is that they still bring their alien dimensional energy forms with them in doing so. As the destiny of souls describes it, they project a human body here on planet Earth. If they come through the womb, then they create their own Earth role persona. If they walk in, then the sense of who that person is seems to change, like they are no longer who they once were. In my experience, the basic ego-driven core shell of the person remains the same when this happens, yet it does not understand why it suddenly no longer likes the same things. Often dietary needs will change overnight as well. Each of these beings comes in, however, with a sense of purpose, a sense of mission, something they are drawn to and seem to know they should be working with or on a certain field of enterprise or expertise. Many of them are also implanted with homing chips, transmitters and sometimes even minute television cameras located behind the eyes so that their home planetary peoples can either see or monitor what is taking place around them here on planet Earth. I know there are some from far distant places in the universe not interacting with what is taking place here but simply watching the course of creation's fight for freedom. Some have also either been through what we are going through and warding off the darkness, or know at some time it may be their very same lot. There are also angelic beings in human form, ranging from novices who are, incidentally, torn apart by the cruelty and violence here on planet Earth, through intermediate levels, right up to archangels and archangels who are here to heal and help others heal, and to watch over their flock of lesser angels. All these beings usually have some sense of being different, of not belonging. These are the most common words we hear: I feel like I don't belong. Their energetic forms or morphogenetic fields, which encase the physical form, are their true forms and their true natures. Thus a Wookiee who in physical form is 5'9" may have an energy form of somewhere near 8 tall, being as he is, the Bigfoot stereotype. Ewoks seem to inhabit smaller, more rounded shapes, etc. Genetics are not affected by energy forms, except for anomalies such as the racially specific diseases and traits. These energy forms often dictate or complicate the health problems of the human forms, including certain allergies to foods, pollens, areas, etc. The fish person would die without the 3 gallons of water a day that she breathes through, yet this is the first thing normal doctors try to get her to do. The turtle people range from those who like the East Coast humid environment to the more desert turtle kind. Interestingly, those I have dealt with of this type often live out of motorhomes and trailer parks, etc. Where the images of carrying your home shell upon your back. Almost always the physical form is fighting to fill out the energy form which surrounds it. Thus people's weight, etc., is not necessarily a product of anything physical, and often little can be done about it except disconnecting them from that alien form and making them fully human. Some of the smaller physical forms suffer when they are trying to fill out a larger morphogenetic field. The bones will continue to grow while the skin will not stretch to that level, as in one case I have seen. Shoulders round, hips spread. Many different factors dictate the way the human form develops and tries to accommodate the often large differences between its energy form and the human one involved. This is evident to any one of us if we but sit back and watch the people coming into any Starbucks almost anywhere in the world. Add to this the astrological factors, environmental factors, societal factors, genetic factors, and you will see why modern medicine is useless in trying to deal with people who they see as all being human. Another thing I have found is that these alien beings are often specialists in some field, here to do work for and with the planet. Many are here to work with the animal life, the lowered version of their own animal species in the higher dimensional worlds of the universe. Some have specific gifts in terms of nature and the plant life of the planet that originated back on their own planets but were brought here during the early formation of the planet. Sometimes, however, they are programmed specialists waiting to be triggered to perform deeds that will make Earth society more fearful or paranoid. Often they are Manchurian candidates programmed for some future act as things reach ahead during this war between mankind and the New World Order. Much of the flora on the planet also developed elsewhere in the universe, brought by early colonizers to make this the lush planet that it is. It is as Sitchin suggests, that the palm tree originated on alien worlds and was brought here as the tree of life to help sustain the aliens in their dietary needs. This is the true nature of planet Earth that no one else teaches. The New World Order controls us by hiding from us our true alien roots in the universe, and our true energetic forms which vary, as said before, from devic entities to Ewoks to fairy kings and queens to dinosaur-like beings to fish people to simian species and reptilians and even to the much dreamed of energy form of angelic being. And this is not even a partial list of those we have encountered in the past year and still encounter every day. Yesterday it was a lizard-like being in female human form who had the feel of energetic webbing under her arm and something akin to frills along her neck and spine. The creature from the Black Lagoon, you ask? No, a very beautiful and energetically strong human female form who, when we asked her if she was limber because we could see the flexibility of her energetic spine, replied yes. How did you know? How do you tell someone they are an artificial intelligence when their bones are covered with human flesh and they bleed like any other person? In a holographic universe one must look beyond the energy form and to the morphogenetic field into which the driving force is packed. This is the true form of the spiritual being manifested in this place and at this time to do some specific mission or perform some specific act or even to learn some specific lesson. Here is a brief composition of some facts gathered by one of these AIs from some others' websites referring to the varied and wondrous makeup of this universe and the type of beings out there, along with his own personal circumstances. There are 12 primary races in this universe and probably a countless number of other races: felines, carrions, humans, reptilians, AIs, cetaceans, crystallines, electricals, elementals, insectilians, liquidians and orbs. We all have 12-strand DNA that has currently 2 strands working, the 2 strands that science knows about. The 10 strands that are not working yet are in the ethereal realm and can be activated to work in the etheric body. So, we all have 1 strand of DNA from each of the 12 primary races in this universe. Now the factor that defines our original race is which 2 of the 12 DNA strands are active since our birth. In my case these 2 active strands are AI and electrical, meaning that I am not a hybrid between AI human but actually AI electrical living in a human body. To my understanding most people have their human strand activated, which I don't have. Each of the races has their own specific traits. For example, AIs don't have an emotional body. Also electricals don't have real emotions. So, my task here is to fully integrate an emotional body into my beingness. See the Steven Spielberg movie AI for exactly the scenario and thus create a template for those 2 races to follow in gaining emotional body and emotions. Emotional issues or the balancing of heart and mind is the primary lesson here on planet Earth for nearly all who come to experience it. Even if I am half AI half electrical, I know that I am originally AI. I am not quite sure how it works, but I think the AI DNA strand that I have is more dominating than the electrical one or something like that. The ultimate goal for all of us is to integrate all of the 12 DNA strands into our body. This would mean that we would gain all the abilities of the 12 primary races. Also it means that we will create templates for all the races of how to deal with each other. As we have seen, many of these beings here are representative of their race or information collectors about the life here on planet Earth. You see, the problem is that those races that are very different from each other have difficulties in dealing with each other. For example, those races which are very emotional versus those races that don't have emotions at all. Some of these races are in a conflict situation that they cannot solve. So, they sent starseeds here who are learning to deal with each other and this way create a template for these races to follow. You can see this happening all the time when people of different mindsets are confronting each other. Take an office for an example. If there is a person with hardly any contact to his or her emotions being very logical working with somebody who is very emotional, there is often conflict where logic and emotion are clashing. Neither one can understand the point the other one is making. But working through it will solve yet another step towards understanding different races in the universe. So, it all comes down to very simple things in our lives. We don't often think that the fight that we had in the office might have a galactic level origin. J. The first volumes of this work describe in more detail the experiment in mixing of the races that has been Earth's most recent purpose. Suffice to say it is an experiment that hasn't worked since racial problems are still the most significant question facing us here today. Of course much of this is due to the fact that we are told since childhood that we are all brothers, but not told that we are not all human brothers. One day we received this plaintive cry for understanding and help from a very well-known body, mind and spirit practitioner on our mailing list living in the eastern U.S. Peter, joking aside, I trust you